Hey there, 8th graders, and welcome to today's Explainer. I'm so incredibly excited to be your teacher today because we are jumping straight into the most phenomenal rescue mission in the entire history of the universe, and it's a mission detailed right in the book of Romans, chapter 1. Now, when you hear the phrase rescue mission, you probably picture a superhero movie, right? Maybe helicopters flying in to grab someone off a freezing mountain or a crazy escape from a burning building. But the rescue mission we're unpacking today, it's way, way bigger than any of that, because it involves absolutely every single one of us. It's the story of the gospel. It's the whole shebang about how and why humanity needs saving, and most importantly, exactly who stepped up to do the saving. So, grab your notebooks, get focused, and let's get into it.
Okay, so let's just start right here with a fundamental question about the world we actually live in. Have you ever just stood outside at night, looked up at the sheer vastness of the universe, and wondered, who made all of this? Or maybe, you've looked at the crazy, intricate details of a single leaf under a microscope in science class. It's a totally natural human reaction. Whenever we see complex design, our brains automatically kind of go, wow, there has to be a brilliant designer behind this.
Section 1. God revealed in creation. When you look at the stars or dive into how a complex ecosystem like a coral reef works, or even just study the human body, you aren't just seeing random chance. You're directly looking at God's immense power and his divine nature completely revealed through creation. Romans 1 actually teaches us that God didn't just hide himself away. He put his fingerprint on absolutely everything he made. Think about it. A painting proves there's a painter, right? A building proves there's a builder. In that exact same way, this incredibly fine-tuned universe we live in showcases an all-powerful creator. His invisible attributes are literally on display all around us, so there are really no excuses for missing it.
Section 2. Exchanging truth for lies.
Sadly, humanity didn't just accept this beautiful truth. They made what's known as the Great Exchange. Instead of honoring the Creator who made everything and giving him the massive thanks he deserves, people foolishly traded the absolute truth of God for a total lie. Romans tells us they actively chose to worship created things instead of the Creator. Now you might be thinking, what does that actually mean for us today? Well, we might not bow down to statues of wood or stone anymore, but humanity definitely still worships created things. Think about it. Chasing popularity, money, status, the latest video games, or just our own selfish desires. We take the stuff God made, we put it on a throne, and we just push God himself to the side.
To really wrap your head around how foolish this great exchange is, imagine this. Imagine trading a brand new, totally priceless smartphone for a smashed up, muddy plastic toy phone you found on the sidewalk. It makes absolutely zero sense. If your friend actually made that trade, you look at them and say, "No way, what are you thinking?" But guys, that is exactly what humanity did by turning away from the infinite loving God and just settling for temporary broken things that can never ever truly satisfy us.
So, the absolutely crucial question we have to ask ourselves now is, what happens next? What are the actual, real-world consequences of rejecting the ultimate truth of the universe and making that terrible trade?
Section 3. The consequences of sin.
Because God is perfectly just and completely holy, he can't just brush evil under the rug. Romans 1:18 tells us straight up that his wrath is revealed from heaven against all the ungodliness and unrighteousness of people who suppress the truth. Now listen closely here, because God's wrath isn't like a human losing their temper or flying off the handle. Actually, scratch that. It's nothing like human anger at all. It is his perfect, righteous, and entirely necessary justice against sin. When people hold down the truth and refuse to honor him, there's a real, serious consequence to that.
This sets off a really dangerous chain reaction, basically a 3-step plunge. Step 1, you reject God's truth. Step 2, because you've turned away from the light, your heart and your mind become completely darkened. You kind of lose the ability to clearly see right from wrong. And step 3, you inevitably just begin following your own sinful desires. It's like God finally steps back and says, okay, if you insist on walking into the dark without me, I'm going to let you have your way. And unfortunately, that always leads to a ton of pain and brokenness. And here is the really sobering reality for every single person walking the earth today. We are all in the exact same boat. We are all sinners. None of us have honored God perfectly. We've all made that foolish trade at some point in our lives, Which means every single one of us desperately needs to be forgiven and rescued from this spiritual darkness, because the truth is, we just can't fix it on our own.
Section 4. The power of the gospel.
Thankfully, God did not leave us stranded in the dark, which brings us to the ultimate solution. What exactly is the gospel?
Well, the word itself literally translates to good news. But it's so critical to understand that the good news of Jesus isn't just a list of helpful tips. It's not a self-help book on how to be a nicer 8th grader. No, the gospel is the literal, dynamic saving power of God that actively works to forgive, rescue, and completely make sinners right with God. It's God himself stepping right into human history to pull off the ultimate rescue mission.
I really want you to lock this memory verse into your minds right now. Romans 1:16 says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes." Definitely memorize that one. Because this verse boldly declares that this immense saving power isn't just reserved for a select few VIPs, it is available to absolutely everyone who believes. No matter who you are, no matter what you've done, that power of God to salvation is there for you if you just put your faith in Jesus Christ.
And this right here is the absolute core of the rescue mission. Through Jesus Christ, the massive penalty for our sin is fully paid. Just think about what happens the moment you believe. You are completely forgiven of all unrighteousness. You are totally rescued from that downward spiral of a darkened heart we talked about earlier. And honestly, best of all, you are made perfectly right with God. That totally broken relationship with your Creator, boom, it's completely restored through Jesus. Now that is some real power.
Section 5. The Godly Learner Philosophy. Now let's connect all this incredible theological truth directly to your everyday life as a student right here. At HeroesMart Academy, we know a very, very important secret. Simply getting smarter without having a moral compass can actually be super dangerous. Think about the villains in all your favorite superhero movies. They're almost always these super geniuses, right? But they use their massive brains for evil. Education without biblical morality can honestly hurt people. That's exactly why your knowledge, your intelligence, your math, and science skills, they must all be used to make wise, God-honoring choices. We don't just want to make you more capable, we want to make you truly wise.
And we find this exact truth firmly planted in Scripture. Romans 8 tells us that to be spiritually minded is life and peace. If you only ever focus on earthly things, on just getting ahead no matter what, it leads to conflict and spiritual death. But keeping your mind fiercely centered on spiritual truths, keeping this gospel of Jesus Christ right at the front of your brain, rather than just stuffing it with academic facts, well, that is what truly leads to a life full of deep peace and genuine success.
So, as an 8th grade godly learner, this is your mission. We absolutely want you to work hard and pursue real academic excellence. Do your homework, study for those tests, give it 100%. But as you do that, you've got to keep your mind centered on God. Always be seeking out absolute truth and wisdom, not just memorizing facts to pass a quiz, and commit to making righteous choices every single day. Let your education be a powerful tool that honors the Creator we talked about at the very beginning of this lesson.
As we wrap up this explainer and you step back out into your day, I really want you to ask yourself this. Will you let the saving power of the gospel totally guide your mind, your education, and your life today? Here at HeroesMart Academy, we intertwine biblical morality with your education on purpose, because knowledge should help you make wise, God-honoring choices. So, how are you going to use the knowledge you acquired today to honor the Creator who perfectly designed you, completely rescued you, and powerfully empowers you? Think about that as you head to your next class. Keep your eyes on the truth, keep your mind spiritually focused, and never, ever be ashamed of the amazing rescue mission that God has invited you into. Have an absolutely awesome day, godly learners.